Today I'd like to talk about something that I have quite a bit of experience with and I think would be helpful for anybody watching who is looking to get in good shape, drop some weight without having to obsess over counting calories, and that is intermittent fasting. So without wasting too much time, I'm going to show you some of the results I've gotten with intermittent fasting. As you can see in these photos, this was before I was a cool middle-aged guy with lots of tattoos. I'd like to just preface the video by saying I'm not a medical professional, I'm not a scientist, I'm just sharing my anecdotal experience because I think it could be good education for someone to gain some insight on if you fast and you have a stubborn body type that likes to put on fat. I think we all kind of have a stubborn body type that does that, but my body type definitely is stubborn and I can put on fat very easily, especially as I'm getting older. I started intermittent fasting in 2015. I met a friend at the gym. He was in really good shape. I thought he was my age, but he was actually 15 years older and he always seemed to stay lean all year round. So I asked him what he's doing to stay in such good shape, and he directed me to a book called Engineering the Alpha, and that he was following a 16-8 fast, which was 16 hours of fasting and 8 hours of eating. So I went home and I bought the book on my phone and I started reading it. I immediately started incorporating this 16-8 fast, and I got results. Within the first week, I started seeing the results. I was losing water weight. I was combining it with a ketogenic diet. The reason why I was doing this was I was transitioning from being a big power lifter and bodybuilder to competing in jiu-jitsu, and I needed to drop weight because I had no flexibility. I was stiff, I was bulky. It looked like I couldn't reach around and wipe my ass. Obviously I could do that, but I just didn't have flexibility. I didn't have mobility like I do now. So I wanted to get my weight down. I wanted to get into a lighter weight class so I could fight people that were smaller. I didn't want to fight guys that were 260 pounds. So I started incorporating fasting and it was extremely effective. My average body weight throughout the year would be between 210 and 240. So I was like in between that weight range, and I found it difficult to get down to 210. It was like a challenge because I was eating so many carbs. I was eating so many times throughout the day. Since I've been fasting over the past 9 years, I've been able to maintain a weight of between 185 pounds to 205 pounds, which is incredible because I don't have to be as strict with my diet as I did before, because it's easier to reduce calories when you're eating in a smaller window. Another benefit to doing a 16-8 fast is it helps with your insulin sensitivity. It helps with preventing insulin resistance, which is when your body is not utilizing insulin and glucose effectively, and this can lead to a lot of negative health side effects down the road, like diabetes. Obviously, I wasn't doing this for that reason. This was more of an aesthetic and athletic approach. I just wanted to improve my athletic performance, and it was very effective. I found it was really good for my time management. I had to take a lot less per day. I know that's a lot of information, but that was definitely a plus. I could just get up in the morning, drink a coffee, and go to work. Another benefit to fasting is I found that my stomach shrunk. Now I don't have the appetite that I had before fasting. Human beings are creatures of pattern. So if you have certain psychological patterns around food, if you don't break them, they're just gonna stay the same, and your body is just naturally gonna wanna maintain that homeostasis and stay in that comfort zone. So eating in a smaller window of time, I found that my stomach just didn't want to eat as much food over time. In the beginning, it's hard. You're gonna wanna overeat in that window, and that's actually a negative to intermittent fasting, is some people overeat within the window and they end up actually gaining more weight. You have to discipline yourself to eat less within this window. So I found that to be a benefit. It can also be a negative as well. It can be a pro and it can be a con. It just depends on your approach and how much willpower you have in the beginning. Once you've reprogrammed your patterns with eating, it becomes easy to fast and stick to a ketogenic diet. I find now that I'm in my 40s, the ketogenic diet is really beneficial to staying lean all the time. I'm not always ripped, but I maintain a pretty good physique all year round now, and I can do athletic things like running. I can do some kickboxing, some jujitsu, like I can roll and I can lift weights. And I'm pretty flexible. I can do the splits now. I'd say I'm doing pretty good, especially for my age. So I also read another book called The Complete Guide to Fasting by Dr. Jason Fung. He's a doctor that works with, I believe it's epileptic patients as well as patients that have diabetes. He also was working with George St. Pierre as well. In his book, they talk a lot about extended fasts. So I started incorporating those as well. A couple times a year, I'll do a 1 to 3 day fast. And I find that helps with giving my digestive tract a rest. And it also helps with mental clarity, and there's a lot of anti-inflammatory effects doing that, as well as the carnivore diet. The carnivore diet, when I first did it, I did it for 3 weeks. I don't follow the carnivore diet exactly. Like, I'll go off of it towards the end of the week and I'll eat some more carbs. But throughout the week, I'm usually doing the carnivore diet. But I did do a 3-week carnivore diet kind of challenge when I first tried it, and I noticed it completely cured my tennis elbow. I had really bad tennis elbow. I do a lot of physical lifting at my work, and I lift at the gym, and I was doing a lot of jujitsu at the time, and I found that my tennis elbow had gone away completely. So that was huge for me. I think it's because it's anti-inflammatory, and from what I've read, a lot of issues we have come from inflammation, and the carnivore diet definitely helps with being an anti-inflammatory elimination diet. Overall, fasting has really helped me in achieving the physique I wanted to achieve and transitioning out of that unhealthy, overly built bodybuilder physique that I once had. I think fasting is probably my favorite way to hack dieting. I like the whole biohacking thing where you do something that's like just really effective with time management. It's really effective in reprogramming your body in a positive light, in a positive direction. And I find fasting to be really helpful. I made this video because I have a lot of experience with it. And I just think this is just some insight that somebody could hear. And I get a lot of information watching people on YouTube. So I just figured I'd make a YouTube video about this. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you want to give me a like or subscribe, let me know in the comments if you enjoyed this video. Have a good morning, have a good afternoon, have a good evening, whatever time zone you're in. See you in the next video.